Have you ever wondered why these super rich elites are so willing to break our countries financially and make our fellow citizens' lives a living hell, using the fake climate crisis as an excuse to do it? Stick around, because I'm gonna show you. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the puppets as well as the leaders of the cabal, the deep state, and the agenda against the West. The reason it feels like we're getting hit from every angle. Up first, Klaus Schwab, complete with his very own mini-me, was the leader of the World Economic Forum, and I believe secretly he's still running the show.
We must accelerate the transition to a net zero economy.
This is Bill Winters, previous business partner of Mark Carney. In 2020, Carney and Winters worked together to launch a task force on voluntary carbon market to increase trading of voluntary carbon offsets. In layman's terms, it means each company will be paying for the amount of carbon footprint they put into the environment. Carbon feeds everything that is living on this planet. They know this, but they have enough money to keep us fooled. So far. So basically, these guys have figured out a way to force tax on citizens and give it to the large global corporations, meaning they are funneling our money to the top. In doing this, they achieve two goals. They weaken our economy, weaken us, so we don't have time to even protest or do anything because we have to go to work every single day just to feed our families. Hence, the reason they stole the truckers' protest money illegally, in order to stop that protest dead in its tracks. I might add that during that time, Carney was Trudeau's advisor. So why are they saying net zero? They're saying net zero because they are making carbon out to be the bad guy.
And of course, we're seeing the consequence of that in terms of the natural disasters around the world. Importantly, I think, while there's been a clear shift in narrative, in particular in the U.S., also some other...
By that, Winters is talking about Trump throwing a wrench into their plans.
Places. As far as I know, no banks have withdrawn their commitments to supporting a transition to a net zero economy. Because in the long run, it's pretty clear that we need to disgorge ourselves from the reliance on fossil fuels. But when we set this up at Standard Chartered in the beginning, it was two prongs. One was we've got to do our bit to do the right thing vis-a-vis our clients because they want to transition to a net zero environment, but it requires massive investment. That's what we do. We come up with those dollars. But two is we make money. Right? It's a big business for us. And we made we gave the guidance externally a couple of years ago that we'd make $1 billion of income by 2026. We'll be pretty close to that in 2025. It's just a big business, and it's a profitable business.
Up next is King Charles, the owner of 14 different countries, including the UK, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and Jamaica. All countries experiencing very similar problems.
Transition to net zero by 2050.
We must accelerate the transition to a net zero economy.
The first one here, who sunk the US massively.
And reach net zero by 2050.
And the next one to sink the US massively. The most senile person I've ever seen run a country for 4 years, propped up by BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street, by which I mean WEF funded media.
And to achieve net zero emissions by 2050.
Up next, Trudeau's advisor, who advised Trudeau on how to sink Canada, then went over to Europe to sink Europe, and now sinking Canada. He loves to sink countries, this boy. Doing what he loves and getting paid well to do it.
Do you have a plan for net zero?
And here we have up next proof that they're cheating on their votes because no Australian would ever vote for this guy. Keeping in mind that one of the ways they cheat on votes is bring in immigrants that are going to keep voting for the party that brought them in, and hands them taxpayers' money hand over fist to make sure they keep their votes. And they don't care how much those votes cost because they're achieving one of their missions, which is to break the country that they are running. If you'll notice, they always send money overseas by the millions and millions.
Of reaching net zero emissions by 2050. Of reaching net zero emissions by 2050.
And here is a glimpse of how Anthony Albanese's citizens feel about him after the Bondi Beach shooting, which only happened because of Albanese's policies to flood Australia with radical Muslims. Instead of assuming responsibility, Albanese has chosen to blame the guns and uses this opportunity to bring out new gun laws. After all, you can't have government tyranny with armed citizens. And here we have the one that's leading the way, showing everybody how to sink a country the fastest, jailing his own citizens for speaking out in public, as well as posts on the internet. This piece of work is using the fake climate crisis to freeze out his own citizens. He charges them £300 if they get caught burning wood to try to keep warm, because his policies have pushed up the cost of energy so high they can't afford it. That doesn't sound like fun. Yes, he's a real piece of work, and kept in power again by immigrants that he has brought into the country by the millions. Keir Starmer, making Britain's lives a living hell, who I might add is actually led by the King, as well as Carney.
In relation to net zero, the changes for net zero. In relation to net zero, the changes for net zero.
Oh, my bad. I forgot to mention the other sleazeball who tries to get to them before they even get to power. Larry Fink of BlackRock.
I do go out of my way when there's somebody who's new in their role, a new prime minister. Generally, what I try to do is spend time before they win. Spending time with Keir Starmer, spending time with them and just saying, you have access to whatever information you need.
Isn't that what we need? Corporations running our countries. Because, in all actuality, a vote for any of these guys is a vote for Klaus Schwab. And you're also voting for corporations to run your countries. Up next, stupid.
As we move towards a net zero,
Up next, stupider. The lady that was directly responsible for the wide open border in the US during Biden's term.
Then 2050, we will reach net zero. Then 2050, we will reach net zero.
Up next, BlackRock leader Larry Fink, one of the large corporations that are led by the World Economic Forum to make our lives more expensive every day.
To a net zero, to a net zero, to a net zero, to a net zero.
I don't know about you guys, but I am really sick of this climate mafia. Hey Fink, how about you go ahead and tell us exactly how much money you would like to leave in Western people's pockets?
Zero, 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 zero.
Zero, which is the amount of people that should be voting for any of these losers, or anybody affiliated with this mob.